Welcome to another episode of Prevailing Through Pain, where we'll be interviewing healthcare heroes. And today, we are interviewing the phenomenal Deronda K. Lewis.
I like that. Phenomenal.
Welcome to the show, Deronda.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Cherry Brown. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
So, Miss D, as you know, Prevailing Through Pain, we talk about how we got to where we are today. So with that being said, would you just start with giving us a little bit about your background, your humble beginnings?
You know, when you called me about doing this, of course you start thinking about things, you know, and how you grew up and all this. And I feel like I had almost a split personality growing up just because of the different things that were happening. I was thinking, I don't even remember life really before like 7 years old. So why, I don't know, but I was trying to really think back, and the things that stood out, I mean, if anybody knows my story, my mom was only 15 when I was born, and so that was a kid raising a kid, and I think it was a little rough on both of us, and I ended up living with my grandparents, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that I was loved. I'm not so sure I was wanted. They're older, they're settled, and now they got, it wasn't just me, a sister, 2 kids. And, you know, my grandmother, I always thought was the meanest woman in the world growing up. She was always going to whoop you. She was always going to beat you. She was going to bop you. And now I look back, so that's why I think I had split, not so much personality, but memories. And now I look back, I was like, she used to do tea parties for us. And we'd be out in the front yard like little fancy kids with real china and all this. But when I was in that moment, I don't think I appreciated those things.
Yeah.
So
Dee, I'm gonna say something.
Okay.
Some people in the industry, some people in the world think or know that we are sisters. So I just want to say today that I'm proud that you're that sister. That was the other child that you said.
You were the other. So my mama had 2 kids, 15, 16. Hello?
But anyway, you know, I feel the same way where you said you felt you weren't wanted. I always felt I was the child that, wasn't wanted. So that's funny. I too felt the love from the grandparents. I think as children, we want that love from our parents. And the funny thing, and we crave it. The funny thing is, Deronda is 11 months older than me. We were born the same year. She was born January of that year, and I was born December of that year. And it's funny, those things that we just never talked about. Me being the child that Deronda, when she was born, she won a baby beauty contest.
I was cute. I am cute.
11 months later, I'm born. And the story was told that my father said there's no way that little ugly child is his, and threw my mom through a picture window. Thus, we ended up being raised by our father's parents. Yeah.
So, and like I said, there's no doubt in my mind we were loved. I just felt like my grandfather was at a point in his life, I don't want 2 kids running around this house, but my grandmother would never have put us out. So he had to accept it. And I'm sure he loved us. I don't think he knew how to always show it. And still, as a kid, you're just confused as what's going on. I mean, now I even look back, my mom never lived, what did she live, 3 blocks from us?
Yeah,
she would never move away because she wanted us to see her every day. And then my grandmother even told us, you always have the option if you get older and decide you want to live with your mom. So it was just a lot going on at that time. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but in dealing with this last couple of days, trying to see what I wanted to share, it seems like I was so maybe not clear of my past because so much was going on when I was about 7, 8. We got pulled out of a black school. That was the year I was integrated. We were integrated into a white public school. That they made it clear they didn't really want us.
Right.
I actually was molested that year. I wasn't even going to bring that up. But that led to a whole life of cravings that for years I couldn't even, because I had blocked it out. For years I couldn't understand, like, I eventually quit dating because I could not handle it. But all of that now I know led back to all these things that were going on when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. And so I finally, even in dealing with this week, I realized for years I developed a self-destructive pattern. When things seemed like they were going real good, I had to do something to destroy it. So somewhere in there, I didn't feel worthy of the things that were coming my way.
Which is really interesting to me because me having such a low self-esteem as a child, and I tell everyone that you were the person
Yep.
that told me, Karen, hold your head up. People
Yeah.
treat you the way you treat yourself. And so, this is interesting
To hear
because
this.
I probably learned a lot of things about you today that I don't know about you because we keep things, and I can say African American women, probably women, period, but I can only speak from being an African American woman, that we keep things internalized.
Yep.
And so that can destroy us if we don't let that go. If we, continue to hold on to something that we weren't even responsible for.
It wasn't even my fault.
That we were victim.
Exactly.
Yeah, we were victim about. And so I just say, to anybody that's watching this, free yourself. Free yourself and
Yes.
live your best life.
Yes.
So, Deronda, thank you for being transparent and saying that. So, how do you feel that affected your, well, you said even as far as dating, but your teen life?
Well, my teen life, again, I was very promiscuous, very. And I now know that dates back to this, It's crazy because I just had a conversation this week with somebody asking me how you should deal with a gay guy. I don't feel comfortable, he's gay. And I said, well, the thing is, we all need love. I don't care if you yellow, pink, green, gay, bi, I don't care. And so dealing with my thoughts this week, it just made me say, and we don't even know if something happened. We don't know his story. So why don't you just love him through his story and be his friend, I don't think he's asking you to be his counselor, his mama. And I will say to anybody, I know for a fact, the church actually saved me because I was definitely it was almost like I wanted somebody to stop me. And, I was the oldest. My mom went on to have 6 more kids. So I'm the oldest of 7. And I always felt like I had to, even teachers, they're watching you. You got to be responsible. So I think this is why I say I had 2 things going on in my head. I always feel like in front of people, I have to put on all this, ha, 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 ha. And I think it even, what was the nervous laugh? Everybody like, you got a nervous laugh. I think that's where that came from. And so as I got older, like I said, I didn't even remember the molestation till I was probably about 19. I just remember the effects of it, what it did to me mentally and physically. And so part of trying to be perfect for everybody else was destroying me, like you just said. You're holding it in. And when I got in the church, I started feeling freedom, but it's not an overnight work. Just because you go to church and you accept Christ, if you don't work out some things, you still going to church and you still going to be hurt. You're still going to be wounded. So, I'm not one who say don't go to counseling. I never did, but I did eventually have to start evaluating what's going on. Start reading some self-help books. Start doing some things that if you really want to fix this, you're going to have to do something different. Yeah. So in a way, and I'm in church, love church. In a way, I say church saved me, but it also hurt me because you can hide behind the church, So the church can also teach you to bury stuff. Just don't do it. Don't do it. It's a sin. And so it's still in a way teaching you don't have to deal with your problems. It's easy to say, take it to the altar. Give it to Jesus. How?
Yeah.
Somebody teach me how. Right. And that hurt me in a way. But I'm so grateful. You know what? This is the one thing that I have learned through life. I mean, I'm not going to tell my age, but I'm at a pretty secure up there age. And life teaches you some lessons. And somewhere along the way, I mean, I had a baby at 18.
Let's back up.
Okay.
Let's back up and talk about that having a baby at 18.
Yep.
So how being brought up in the church, because we were
Church of God in
we were raised
Christ.
in Church of God in Christ.
Can't just join it, got to be born in it.
But I have to tell this story though. So when Deronda got pregnant, the pastor calls me over to the church
Yep.
and said he wanted to talk to me. I go and I'm like, I don't know what he wants to talk to me about, but he told me I was going to have to get in front of the church on Sunday and repent, apologize to the church for what I'd done. So I'm thinking, okay, but what did I do? So he told me that he knew I was pregnant. I was like, pregnant? I couldn't even get a boyfriend. So I don't know how you gonna get pregnant if you can't even get a boyfriend. But the thing was, when he found out one of those Lewis girls were pregnant, because they thought this one was an angel, it had to be that little ugly bad one. So yeah, so I stand up in front of the church to apologize, and my grandmother grabs me and she says, sit down! And she grabs Deronda, makes Deronda get up in front of the church, but she was a rebel, so.
Yeah, because I was like,
I don't know if you
why
ever
do I
did
have to
apologize.
apologize to all these people? I ain't slept with them. So anyway, my grandmother screamed something out of the audience, just apologize. And I said, if y'all think I did something wrong, I'm sorry, okay? And went and sat down, so of course I was in trouble. But again, church, it is not the answer for, unless people really are sensitive. I mean, today, why would you have somebody apologize for that? Is that getting pregnant any bigger than you lying, you stealing? You know what I'm saying? And all of it is wrong. But I had to learn, I had to go through this. But anyway, and having my kid at 18, one of the things, today I can say I actually love my mom. I couldn't say that for a lot of years, couldn't, ooh, Lord. But the one thing in raising my kid, I didn't want to do what my mom had done. My mom raised 7 bratty kids. 7 bratty kids. I was probably the best one, and then she kept trying to get more like me, and it went downhill, okay? But I did not want to raise my daughter to feel entitled. That we all owed her something. And she was the first niece, the first grandchild, so everybody wanted to give her everything. But you know what she did for me is made me grow up. Because I wanted to be a hand. I remember Mama saying, I want you to go to college. I'll raise your daughter. And you go, to college for these 4 years. I was like, you ain't raising my... I was like, no, and I didn't. I was like, I'll just get a job, and it wasn't easy. It was not easy at all. And
so
go ahead.
Can we
you
talk
just
about,
keep jumping in?
Can we talk about your jobs? So, you were a hustler. Let's be real.
I already said, honey, I was so self-destructive. I could bold-faced lie to you, and you be trying to take care of me, and I might have $1 million in my pocket, but I was just like, it's so hard. I remember one story, and I don't think I had fear. But I remember going in a bank, because I couldn't even open a checking account, y'all. At that time, I think my credit score, I don't even know if it had hit 400. I didn't even know anything about credit scores.
It was probably negative 400.
It might have been, but I couldn't even open a checking account. So Karen had an extra account, and I was like, girl, let me use this account. You don't even use it. Let me use this account. But everything was in Karen's name. So a little neighborhood bank that was next door to one of my jobs at that time, I needed money. So I went in and deposited a check into this account, Karen Cherry's account. Turned around 10 minutes later to go pull money out as Deronda Lewis. The lady said, the bank manager kept looking at me, ma'am, you were just in here. Same outfit, you didn't even bother to change clothes. You in here, you just put money in a different name, now you in another name taking it out. I just stared at her, ma'am, I don't even know who you are. She said, ma'am, I helped you less than 10 minutes ago. I said, oh my God, my twin was in here, wasn't she?
See, again, like I said, I'm kind of going to find out things that I didn't know, because I don't recall her asking me because she used my account. I just recall her using it.
I used it for years.
Yeah, and then I found out one day.
But the lady, she said, what? I said, my twin, we're taking pictures today. Oh my, she haven't even found me, and she been to this bank already. the bank manager not only cashes the check for me, but then she was like, I didn't know you were a twin, and hugged me. I had no fear for some reason I just felt like everybody would believe whatever I said. And that happened for years. And it's so many stories of things that people just like, well, I have to tell one. We were doing some kind of race, a marathon or something.
Oh, Walk for Mankind.
Walk for Mankind. And I was hungry. We didn't have any money. So I just went over to the truck. This is not making me sound real good. But anyway, I went over to the truck, got my chips, sandwich, drink. I'm like, Karen, get it. Get it. She started looking around, nervous.
Yeah, I'm right to the books. I'm going by the book.
She could have had it and been gone, but she nervous. Then when she finally trying to hide it, the man was like, put that back.
Following this crook right here. My example.
She was so nervous, and I could not stop laughing, and she got mad. Then I'm like, girl, just eat some of mine and come on.
And you know, the crazy thing is that whole night I could hear sirens, and I kept thinking the police are coming after me because I took that honey bun all night. And after that, I said, I'll never, ever do anything that somebody tells me to do, but I know it's not right.
See?
So look, thank you for setting that example, too.
Hey, I got you, girl. But anyway, along the way, somewhere in my life, I was like, you can't keep doing this. And we were talking about my credit score, and I think when I finally decided, you really do have to I know what it was. I went to jail. Hello.
Hold that thought. We're going to take a break for sponsor. We want to hear that when we come back.
Do you have a powerful story of perseverance? Have you triumphed over pain and want to share your story with the world? We're looking for inspiring guests to join us on the Prevailing Through Pain podcast. Head over to KarenSherry.me/guest. Fill out the form and let us know your story. Your voice could be the one to inspire others. Your experience could be the one to lift up someone else. Go to KarenSherry.me/guest.
And we're back. So, Dee, tell us about going to jail.
I think this was still part of that self-destructive. It had to be because it was close to Christmas. I remember that. And I was like, I'm going to go. I think I was in Dillard's. And they had some cute little girl dresses. I decided I'm not paying for this. It was like 6 dresses. I'm taking these for my baby. I'm watching security watching me. We watching each other. And I still walked right out of that store with those dresses. I didn't get probably 5 steps, and they grabbed me. And so somewhere in my mind, I'm telling you, it was just craziness, my thinking pattern. And they walked me back in, and I can remember when they didn't have, cuffs or anything. They just walked me back in. I passed one of my cousins. I'm like, hey, girl, how you doing? Call me. I'm on my way to jail. And I just still... And she was like, okay, cuz, I'll call you later. So she didn't even know what these people behind me, what they were doing. But this is also, I don't know how much further we have in the show, but this is also where the favor of God, sitting in that jail cell, all of a sudden, these old church songs, these girls in there thought I was cute, so 2 of them wanted me. And I'm like, look, baby, I don't fight. I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. But if you try to take these shoes off my feet, we finna get into it right here in this jail cell. And so then somebody recognized me in jail, and they were like, one of my aunts, they knew my aunt. And they were like, this is the spades player right here, honey. No, baby, we ain't got time to fight. We finna play cards. And literally, the next morning, when the jailer called my name, somebody had paid I didn't even have to have bail because that was my first time going to jail. So they had gotten me out, and I was still playing cards when they came to get me. So that had literally been from about 7 o'clock that night to about 9 the next morning. And I said, we were winning. I said, just one moment. He said, ma'am, if you want to get out of here, you better come on. I told my partner, I'm sorry, I got to go. Gotta go. But loved it. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Look, before we talk about you getting saved, and since you said jail, do you remember the incident where our cousin calls me and says, "Hey, cousin, don't worry about that ticket." And I said, "Ticket?" And then she said, "Didn't you get pulled over last night by a police officer?" And I said, "Nobody get pulled over by a police officer." And the first thing I thought, that darn Deronda.
And that's what it was.
And I called you, and you had the nerve to say you couldn't find, told them you couldn't find your driver's license, but you rattled off my social security number.
I probably did. I don't know it today. But
I want to make
know
sure
it
you
back
don't know it
then.
today. You rattled off my social security
I remember
number.
that. Because I had
Our numbers, our last four, everything was the same except our
the
last
two
two numbers on the end.
Yes. But something that happened, they pulled me over.
She remembers my social security number. You heard what she just said, the last two numbers on the end?
You know, I don't remember yours because I have Donnie's in there too. So, some reason, all three of them intertwined. But I do remember that. And that was I was more embarrassed, not you finding out, but the police. So the guy when my cousin said, "Oh, that wasn't Karen, that was Deronda." The guy, I was already doing concerts by then.
Oh.
And the police, this guy had been to numerous concerts. And so he was like, "Well, Deronda, is she in the group Serenity?" That kind of helped me like get it together. You can't keep doing this.
Serenity was a well-known gospel
We were
group.
big. We were big. And I would do good for years, and then just something would like,
Trigger you.
"You're doing too good. You're doing too good. Bring it down. Bring it down." And so that was years of battling. But him, and the next time I saw him, he didn't bring that up. He just kept hugging me. "I love your group. Oh my God, I love this group." I was humiliated. I was so embarrassed. And of course, the rest of my group is saying, "What is he talking about? What happened? What?" And I was just like, "Oh, girl, nothing. It's okay. It's okay." So that was probably the beginning, or not even the beginning. I had started trying to change some things, but that definitely lit a fire under me that you can't stay. Yeah. You just can't keep doing this. You can't.
And speaking of groups, you went to Europe.
I did.
Somewhere in there for a few years.
Yeah.
So tell us about the Europe experience.
Well, Serenity kind of kicked it off. We traveled all over the United States. And then remember, I traveled with a play for about 2 years.
Oh, that's right.
Reverend I'm Available. I traveled with them for a couple of years, living on a tour bus. And during that time, a group from Europe contacted me. They needed a lead singer, and they wanted a Black American. They were all white British. And I kept saying, no, not for me. But, you know, when I look back, I know my footsteps, they were truly ordered. Because I did nothing. This is why I know you don't have to work to get anything from God. You just got to be there. Even in all my craziness and all my chaos, when I look back, He ordered my steps every step of the way. Yeah. And so when this British group came, I kept saying, "No, I don't know anything about England. Y'all got a queen and you drink a lot of tea. I have no desire to live in England." He kept saying, mate, we need you, mate." Terrible accent. But I was like, "Not for me." And then he sent me the music that they sang, and it was Christian dance music, which you eventually got over there. And the music, I just burst out laughing. I was calling all my friends, "Look at what they want me to sing. These people think I'm going to sing this music? Oh my God, is this even really Christian music?" And then they called after, seriously, about 3 months, we'll pay your way to come over for everything is a holiday, not a vacation. We'll bring you over for 3 weeks for a holiday. I said, "Okay, I can do that. I'd love to see England." And they brought me over, and they were having a huge concert at the time. So when we came in, I didn't realize I was on a football field. I didn't know where I was coming in from, but I knew we went up through the floor, and I was on the stage. And, you know, I was used to nice-size concerts. But when I tell you this concert was at the Manchester United football stadium, and it was jam-packed. And I'm looking around, I was like, "Andy, who are all these people here for?" "Mates, I told you we're huge, mate. We're huge. You don't want to join us? Look at these people." And I was just like, these people out here to hear these songs that I've been listening to. And that's what they were there. This was the headlining group. And I was just like, oh, but still at the end of it, my 3 weeks were up. They kept trying to, entice me. But it was just such a change, driving on the opposite side, eating foods I was not used to. And so I remember at the end of my 3 weeks saying, no, I'm going back to America. I don't have anybody over here. And they were like, mate, we'll get you a house. We'll get you this. We'll do this. Your salary, you just tell us what you want and all this kind of stuff. And I came home. I was like, I want to go back to what I know. And then they called me maybe 2 weeks later. It's funny because I remember this is when Bobby Jones was real popular, and I had to appear on Bobby Jones. And so I was like, when they called, I was like, no, I got to do the Bobby Jones show. Like that was the be all, do all, And so anyway, they said, well, what about, we're flying to America. We're going to do a 3-month tour of America. Can we hire you just for the 3 months to be our lead singer? And pay is no, you just tell us. Whatever you want, I'm not going to debate it. I threw out some weird number thinking they'd be like, oh, no. He was just like, okay, I'm settled. You settled? I was just like, I'm still in shock. Oh, okay. So he gave me the dates. We'll be here. So finish whatever you have to do with your old group. And we're going to have a tour bus. We're going to fly you in to meet us. I think it was in D.C. Anyway, I said, okay. And after my 3 months, people, you made friends. And so it was a lot easier when they asked me this time, can you come over even for a year? So as we know, that year turned into quite a few years. But that's how I ended up in England. Mm-hmm. And so, really, there are so many people that I meet that are just lost. And they don't know what to do, and they feel like they're, somewhere along the line, they made such a mistake in their life that there is no help and no way out. I'm a person who can tell you there's always a way out. Yep. There is always a way out. You just got to start looking in the right places. Sometimes you got to leave some people behind. Sometimes you got to leave situations, jobs, whatever it is that makes you feel like you are not a success. Change it. You can change it. And I'm a witness. You can call me and I'll tell you, change it.
So let me ask you this too, because I know that we all struggle with different things. And I remember, because you always, such a pretty girl, and then you started gaining weight.
Yep. If you notice, the weight started at about...
And you're still a pretty woman.
I'm still gorgeous.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
I know you know, but I'm just saying, I think things trigger different things in our life.
Well, because you're right. You're like, even thinking you're cute and everybody just says, oh, you have such a pretty face. So the rest of me is void. Yeah, so, but if you think about it, the weight started the same time everything else started. Mm-hmm. Now, I wasn't like obese, but I definitely started gaining weight. And I think when I look back, food became a security blanket for me. Food, really, when I think I lost control of food and my appetite was during my breakup with my ex, Donnie's dad. And I think I felt for a long time like nobody else can, I don't care if I get big, but people don't want you. But now I know I'm just big and people still want you. So that was like, what? But that was the beginning. The 7-8-year-old was the beginning. Then that kind of just unleashed something that I won't get hurt again. And if I don't date, guys won't cheat. I won't be trying to have sex. There's a whole lot of stuff in there. But that was the beginning. And even though I talk about healing, I still believe, and I'm still trying to work on my weight, because you're right. We all have some baggage that we still carry around, and we're still fighting some battles. And for me, that is definitely one of them. I feel like, few things I've completely overcome. Few things don't even seem like that was really my life. This has been a struggle. I mean, how many weight loss groups? I think I have tried every weight loss program on the market. If I could
I
get,
think I allowed you to have 30 days off one time.
and went to a fat
with
camp.
pay.
Went to a fat camp, and oh
And
my.
you lost a lot of weight.
I lost a lot of weight, but hello, I was working out 7 hours a day. Yeah, you're going to lose weight. And then they would stop your workout, come eat, and they'd have like a little cracker. Here's your snack for the day. And then dinner, you did have salad and some kind of veggie and a meat. You ate, I think it was like 4 times a day, but I mean, very, very small portions. But yeah, I was working out 7 hours a day, every day, for 30 days. So I definitely came back looking like bam, bam, bam. And first chicken I ate, first piece of chicken, it like kind of like a cartoon, the hip pop out. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I stuck with it for a while. And then it was just habits
Yeah.
that.
And and that's what I was trying to get to, because I think, for one, like you said, we all have a vice, and sometimes, and I say that because whether someone is overweight, whether someone is drinking, whether someone is depressed, there typically is a reason that created all of that.
Yep.
And we tend to judge. We tend to judge because maybe that's not, what's going on with us.
With us.
And instead of trying to, it's not even for you to try to understand, but definitely not for you to give someone a hard time because of whatever that they may be going through.
Yes.
I remember when Mama died, I had to go see my doctor because I'd run out of blood pressure medication. And I got that call, and I was crying so hard, trying to get back to the hospital. And I remember I pulled my car out, like right at the edge of coming out of the parking lot. And there were 2 young ladies in the front seat of a car, and they had 2 kids in the back seat. And I guess to them, I came out too far, and they just stopped and just started cursing me out. And tears were coming down my eyes, and I was motioning my mouth saying, and that was a wake up for me, as far as like I traveled every week flying in and out of the airport, and people would bump into you, and where typically I might say, hey, but after that I would say, bless, bless, bless. Like if somebody bumped into me, I'm thinking they might be trying to get on a flight because they have a dying parent, or because, whatever the case may be. So from that day, and I think Mama's been dead, I was 45, so 20 years, telling my age. So she's been dead 20 years. But from that day forward, when anything happens to me like that, I just say, bless, bless, bless. If somebody does something, because I'm thinking they may be going through something. So
and that's the truth. And people are every day fighting something, and we don't know, because often they smile it away. But on the inside, people are in turmoil. One of the things, somebody just asked me this week, how many places have I traveled? And for those of you who don't know, I've literally been all over the world. And so, I tell people that same group that I didn't want to go to had me skiing in Switzerland, But the one thing that I was able to tell them that I've learned through all of my travels is a tolerance that I didn't have for years, a tolerance for people. Because people, what I found, I don't care if they were in India, China, Africa, people are people. They're trying to survive. They're trying to raise their family. They're trying to keep a job. And they're not trying to fight me. They don't even know me. They're just trying to be themselves. They're trying to survive. That's the word. They're trying to survive. I said, so it has taught me patience, that I've always kind of gotten along with people, but I never really tried to understand people that were not like me. And I think that has helped me more than anything. I remember in what part of Africa? Uganda. and the Muslims came over the loudspeaker in the city. I believe it was at 5 in the morning, and it was my first morning there. It scared me. I fell out of the bed. It scared me so bad. I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? And they said, it's just their prayer time. And they say, look out the balcony. When I tell you people were coming out on the streets, bending down on their rugs and praying, I got such a conviction in my spirit. Me, the big Christian singer, and I'm looking at these people who are not just talking it, they're actually walking it. And what hit me is the church I grew up in, we would condemn every one of these people to hell. Mm-hmm. But could it just be, I don't understand? Mm-hmm. Or could it just be, thank goodness I'm not God who has to make the decision? So it has just taught me, let people be people. Leave them alone. Pray for them if you don't understand it, and leave them alone.
Yeah. So, Africa, I remember you telling a story where you were singing, and the woman wanted to invite you
to eat. I went to this church. This church brought us in. Again, in my group, I'm the only black, I'm the only American. This church, I won't say the name of the church because it's a huge church in Africa, brought us in because they wanted to integrate their church, right? Mm-hmm. So they were all white, and they wanted Africanos to start coming to their church. And I learned so much, who's colored, who's black, who's this. I'm like, what? So it don't matter if you this color. Your race depends on what they call you or how your parents look or this kind of stuff. So anyway, we go to the church. I have 2 bodyguards. My bodyguards, I knew could understand me, but they wouldn't speak to me because I was with white people. And every morning I would be like, you're going to say hello to me. You're going to say, and they just kept looking over my head. As soon as I walk off, they start talking in their language. And I turn around, I know you're talking about me. I know you're talking about me. I'm going to get to you. And so every day, because I was there for, I think, a month. Every day I would be like, hello, good morning. And finally one of them said, why are you with these white people, these white devils? And I said, this is who I work with. This is the group I'm with. But they didn't even know my group we fell out in Africa because my group started seeing all these people in the shanty towns. And then we would go over to a white house.
Can you explain shanty town?
The houses that they build for Africans, a lot of in these little areas. So it might be a shirt, 5 or 6 shirts is the roof. And whatever they can find to build it with. So we would call them shotgun houses, but they didn't even have the material we had to make these houses. So you would go in, it'd be dirt floors quite often, no room separations, it's just an open, and people sleep over here and cook over here. And so they would see this, and then the whites that brought us in, they would have gated, communities and barbecuing, and I kept saying, because I hadn't even seen an African other than walking down the street my whole first week and a half, 2 weeks. I kept saying, where can I go get some African food? I'm eating at Outback Steakhouse in Africa. And I kept saying, where did I get African food? Where do I meet some Africans? And I had white drivers, and they kept saying, we don't go into those neighborhoods. We don't deal with those people. And I said, well, can you give me a driver that deals with these people? And so the guy says, yeah, let me look around. So he gets me this driver. He calls himself Michael. And Michael finally took the whole group. Everywhere I went, the group wanted to go, even though they weren't speaking to me, because they kept saying, Deronda, why do blacks act like racism is still so real?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, why do y'all, it's been over. Let it go. And so I'm watching them, and I said, so I don't need to be in this group. They said, what? I said, so I'm not singing tonight. They said, what do you mean? I said, because you're sitting in here telling me I'm a liar. Is this who you want to represent your group? The liar? And they said, well, we're not calling you a liar. I said, that's exactly what you're calling me. So why don't you just say, then maybe we haven't seen it, we haven't paid attention, we haven't noticed it, but don't tell me my experiences are not real. Mm-hmm. So that night...
so it's past the United States. I'm saying it's outside the United States.
Oh, it's outside, yeah. It's real everywhere. Mm-hmm. I've been enough places to know it's real. And anyway, they took me into this shanty town, and they had told the group, these people will accept Deronda, but they're going to be scared of you. Just stay in the van. Let me go and tell them you're a singing group. You're all together, but do not get out of this van. My group is so. I hope they're not listening, but I love y'all. But y'all know y'all was wrong. They all jumped out of the group. Hey, hey! When I tell you, people started throwing sticks. Sticks. I'm the only one still in the van, and I'm the one he said could get out. Now they all jumping on top of me trying to get back in the van because these people were throwing stuff at him. He's running like, whoa, 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 trying to stop them. And he got so angry. He asked me to get out. I did, and they were talking to me. Of course, I didn't understand, and they were holding my hand, and and then somebody, one of the guys, was saying, she looks like us, but she does not understand us. And he was saying, yes, she's from America, and all this kind of stuff. So when I got in the van, I was just so like, wow, that was an experience, but I was so mad at my group. Anyway, they were still, I said, they're afraid of you because they see you as white devils. You didn't respect what this man who knew was telling us to do. You knew better than him. On to what you were talking about. So we're getting ready for the concert at People's Church. I said, at this church. And can y'all edit that? Anyway, and so we get to the concert, and they've apparently said they advertised to all these Africans, we want you to come. There were thousands of people. And 2 black faces. They were so in the sea of whites that they stood out. And so, because I'm the lead singer, I'm the only singer, they know that they were coming down after the concert. And I could see them coming, but I was talking and signing autographs, and the bodyguards were trying to hold them back. And I said, let them come, let them come. And the lady comes on the stage, and when I tell you that lady was crying like a baby, and she kept hugging me, I see a black woman on this stage. I say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. They listening to you. You have the mic. I just cried, thank you, Jesus. And then she said, I want to cook for you. And I was like, hey, my African food. I said, okay. So the rest of my group was like, can we come? Can we come? She said, I cook for everybody. I cook for all of you. She walks off, she turns back around. Rat, I fry a big juicy rat. Everybody stopped. I was like, no rat. Thank you, but no rat. And she said, good, juicy. I said, no rat. So the rest of my group decided overnight they're no longer going, right? I feel so bad because in my mind, I just see this lady up trying to cook.
Excited about it.
Excited. We're coming to her place. I'm thinking her house is a shanty house. I don't even know how all of us are getting in there. I'm sorry, my allergies. And anyway, they back out. The lady, she said, I pick you up. So the next day, she comes to my hotel to pick me up. And I was a little nervous, but not enough to say I'm not going, nobody else is going. My group is so afraid this lady's trying to kidnap me. They follow her car to see where they need to come back if I don't show up. When this lady takes me to her house, she's married to a pilot from Britain. And so they're in this huge house with a gated community. So the group drives off right after they saw where I was going. And her house was amazing. But I get in, she had brought me so many African outfits and all this stuff. And I was embarrassed, y'all. She had a table. When I tell you that table was full of food, and it's 2 of us. I said, I'm trying to make excuses. They couldn't come. They decided, they wanted to do something else. She was just so happy I was there. She was like, no problem. But also, I ate something. I was like, I think she cooked that rat. But I thought it was a meatball, and I bit into it, and I was kind of like, because I didn't recognize. Some of the food was really good. Some I just didn't recognize. And that was a mouse. And I was like, okay. But again, tolerance on then, you know what I learned? Wherever I go, Vietnam, wherever, just don't tell me what I'm eating.
And you'll be all right. Well, Dee, we need to wrap this up. It has been a pleasure having you on the show. But I just want to fast forward through. So would you please let our audience know that you're not a crook anymore?
I'm not.
You're not
I'm not a criminal. I have my own checking account. Actually, let me tell y'all what, my credit score that was less than 400 is now 820.
Right.
Okay, so you can do it. You just got to make up your mind. I'm going to do. And what I decided that your way is not working, you better see what God has in store for you. And that turned my life
and
around.
you do have a legal job these days.
I'm legal. I'm not going back to jail and play spades. Okay?
But again, thanks for being on the show. But would you tell that little girl that has been abused as a child, or that may be still going through something, would you just give them some encouraging words?
You know, right now, like if you're in the middle of it, it seems impossible because you have other people in charge of you. So you don't even know how to take control. All I can tell you, you know, it's talk. Find somebody you trust, first of all, if you can. And I don't want to, you know, don't run away and all this. But I can tell you, it gets better. It gets better. Because sometimes the adults in our lives don't recognize that they're adults. And sometimes, like, I don't even think the person that molested me meant to hurt me. He was trying to just satisfy himself. And that's unfortunately what people that make bad decisions in our lives, you're included in those bad decisions. So I would just tell you, again, find somebody you can talk to, or just know it may be rough right now, but I can promise you, if you hold on, it gets better. It gets better. That's really all I can say.
Thanks again for being on the show and keep
Thank
doing
you.
great things in life.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. And the best of this show.
Thank you.